In 2010, the national government or federal government took a census of Minnesota, Becker County, Detroit Lakes, and every place in the great United States of America. Now, the reason they do that, of course, is for political purposes, redistricting. And that right now is what Becker County and the rest of the state of Minnesota is dealing with. The population shifts right here in Becker County have made it so at least one, possibly two districts are going to be needed to be altered in order to allow more people to be represented evenly. The big problem is Donald Scarry's district, which includes the northern part of Detroit Lakes, as well as Detroit Township, the city of Audubon, and Audubon Township. That district has decreased in population, while districts represented by Barry Nelson and John Okeson, as well as Jerry Schramm and Todd Knutson, have all grown in size, primarily right around the Detroit Lakes area and also over in the Osage area and Runeberg area here in Becker County. They've seen the most growth. Now, with that growth in Detroit Lakes has actually grown big enough where wards 2 and 3, which is basically the southern half of Detroit Lakes, could be put together to form its own commissioner's district. This is something I think would be a great idea. Each commissioner's district needs to be around 5,000 to around 6,000 people, give or take a few hundred, depending on how the lines get drawn out. Now, the reason I would like the city of Detroit Lakes to have a representative on the Becker County Board of Commissions, if redistricting goes that way, is simply because it's the biggest city in the county. Over 32,000 Detroit Lakes, or over 32,000 people call Becker County home. Of those, 8,500 are Detroit Lakes residents, roughly 1 out of every 3. And yet wards 2 and 3 together would make up almost 1/5 of Becker County's population and would in turn represent 1/5 in the county government. Right now, the city of Detroit Lakes does not have a representative who lives in the city of Detroit Lakes. Again, the wards are divided between different districts. The southern half is in Lakeview Township and is represented by John Okeson, the northern half right now by Don Scarry. However, growth in Burlington Township and in the city of Frazee itself has also made that an interesting proposition as to where Jerry Schramm might end up being a commissioner. He was recently put in position as vice chair of the Becker County Board of Commissioners, but could easily be lumped in to another district, either against Larry Knutson if he seeks re-election, or possibly be lumped in against John Okeson in District 2. I don't see a way we can divide the county up because of how much population has grown in the city of Detroit Lakes without putting one commissioner against the other. It's going to be a very, very difficult process. Furthermore, Detroit Lakes seems to be one of the very few growing areas of western Minnesota. You can look around town and see the development that we've put into town. A lot of that recently has been done by the city of Detroit Lakes, but hopefully it is paving the way for future growth and expansion. And if we're talking future growth and expansion for the city, that should mean more population in the city as well, even though a lot of the city's growth over the last 10 years has come through annexation of areas around it. But I would like to see the Becker County Board of Commissioners go for a city representative on the Becker County Board of Commissioners. I would like to see either wards 2 and 3 combined, maybe wards 1 and 3 combined, or another 2 wards combined together to form its own district. So the city has a representative on there. I think it could make it easier in the future if the county and city have to consolidate services to have somebody that can be a mediary back and forth. I also just think it would make it easier in general for communication between the two governing bodies. We'll have to see how the redistricting pans out. In February, we'll know, sometime in late February, when the state makes their lines known, the Becker County Board of Commissioners can draw their lines too. But it'll be interesting to see, will we have 3 commissioners up for election this year or 4? It all depends where the lines are drawn.